Hello, how are you guys? This is Mariposa, also known as Taylor. I hope you guys are ready for some fun and exciting news about what to feed your Yoni. I'm here down in the south, although it's kind of cold down here tonight. So I know some folks are just going to be getting on, and it's an exciting time here for us at Sisters of Sexuality. This week has been so full of information for you guys. Monday we had Jet Setting Jasmine during the home movie XXX tutorial. She was really good. Tuesday Parrish came on talking about sex with God, and some of you guys were a little shy about that one, but I know you guys have been watching the rerun of that, and it was really good information. Wednesday we had Tiffany Janae, and she talked about preparing the womb for lovemaking. And last night we had an amazing sister goddess, Marla, and Marla was talking about how to make a woman squirt, and that got a lot of attention, and there's a lot of good information. So tonight I'm going to be talking about what to feed your Yoni, and before I get into that, I'll just let you know that I own organiclovin.com, and we specialize in enhancing couples and singles sex lives and improving their sexual health through our organic and eco-friendly body products, intimate body products at that. So coming up, as you all know, November 12th, if you haven't got your tickets, listen, you've got to get your tickets. We are selling very quickly, especially with all the things we've been doing this week. So make sure to go to sistersofsexuality.com and to register and get your ticket. It's going to be a great afternoon in one of the most wonderful locations, the SRB, and it's right outside of Atlanta. So definitely go to sistersofsexuality.com. So before we talk about what to feed your Yoni, let's talk about what not to feed your Yoni, okay? A lot of you guys have no idea the amount of chemicals that you're putting inside of your vajayjay, your Yoni, your vagina, your punani. Hell, can we just call it pussy? Okay. You are using these lubricants that are advertised everywhere. I'm not going to mention no names, but yeah, some of them have things like propylene glycol in them. Do you know that propylene glycol is the cousin to antifreeze? Yeah, antifreeze. Our skin is porous, and what we put on it, up to 60% of what we put on it, actually is absorbed into the bloodstream. The vagina, the anus, the nose is covered in a mucous membrane. 100% of what you put on it is absorbed into the bloodstream. Propylene glycol, which in the general market sense is something that makes wet things slippery. And it's in everything. It's in toothpaste and dog food and cat food and mouthwash. But the last place you need to have it is in your vagina. It is very drying to your vaginal tissues. And once a woman gets dry, well, then things tend to stop, right? Because a dry pussy is a hurt pussy. And when women are hurt, what do? We shut it down. We're like, nope, no more sex for anybody. I'm hurting, right? Guys, we know how you are. I know you're out there. I know you're watching. Guys could be bleeding from the eyes and they will still keep having sex. So like, that's okay. I'll just put some Vaseline on it later. So, but ladies, we cannot be hurt like that. It's just when we get dry, we get these little micro tears in our vaginal tissues, and that leaves you susceptible to all kinds of buggers, and we'll talk about that. I see Melissa. Hey, Melissa. Melissa was asking, what about fruit? No, no fruit. No fruit, no vegetables in the vagina. Do you realize you cannot do everything you see on porn? I know you're watching porn. Nothing wrong with watching porn. But if you use fruits, vegetables, that have been sprayed with things to keep the bugs off of them, those insecticides, they leave residue on the fruit and the vagina. The fruit and the vegetables, and then you insert it inside of a nice, hot, warm body. No fruit, no vegetables. Guys, the condoms, if you really care about the ladies that you were spending time with and she's giving you all the goods, you have to understand that the condoms that you're using, the lubricant on the condoms is chemical based. So not only do you dealing with chemicals, you also have things like sucrose and glucose and glycerin, all derivatives of sugar. And when you put sugar in something warm and dark and wet, what do you get? Anybody know? Anybody? Yeah, you stop baking bread. That's what you start doing. You get the most horrific yeast infections. And the guys don't even know. They know the condom fits, it works, but they have no idea that they are making life more difficult for you, the woman, in giving you some of these reoccurring yeast infections. You don't even know what's causing them. You might think, oh, I'll stop using the soap that I'm using. I'm stop using the lubricant. But because it is not required by law for the government to tell you that the lubricant is chemical based on the condom, you have no idea what you're inserting into your yoni. So you have to be careful. So what, of course, I'm going to suggest is switch to organic lubricants. Switch to vegan condoms. Yes, condoms can be vegan. And no, it's not a lettuce wrap. You can't eat it. So don't try to eat the condoms. But they do come in some really nice, good essential flavors, but we'll talk about that another time. Another thing, ladies, you have to be careful with some of the sex toys that you're using. If you have a dildo that is very gelacious, meaning that it's rubbery, it can, willy around like this, and if when you open the package, you can smell it, and it smells that rubbery, almost like a freaking rubber tire, those also have chemicals on them. And they have things like phthalates, and phthalates have been linked to cancer. And phthalates, just like some of the rubber, some of the plastic containers, they say you don't heat your food up in plastic containers, because the phthalates that are in the plastic containers, when they get warm, they seep into your food. So now let's take that nice gelacious dildo and we insert it in a 96-degree body, you get seepage. So these are things that are really not good for the body. I did a post a month or so ago that was like no sex in the boom boom room. That also includes no sex in the jacuzzi, no sex in the pool. And I know you're thinking, what? We want to have sex in the pool. It's so fun. It's hot. It's sexy. But if you're not in your own personal pool at home, it's a no-no. Also, primarily because every time there's a stroke, all the chemicals that are in the pool chemicals, everybody that's been in the pool, some also having sex in the pool, but the chemicals in the pool and all of the suntan lotion, sunblock that everybody has on in the pool is now being whisked up into your lovely, beautiful, precious petals. Also not good for the yoni, right? So some other things that might be interfering with you staying fresh and feeling your best. Your detergent, a lot of your mainstream detergents leave a residue on your clothes. So in your underwear, in your jeans, in your thongs, there's, these things may be causing irritation for you. So I'm going to say, switch to something more organic, or even if you just go free and clear, like no dyes, no perfumes, that would be also excellent for your yoni and keeping it in good health. So some other things that I also wanted to mention to you about what is good for you. And ladies, I have to ask you, have you ever tasted yourself? I don't mean after someone's been there, but I mean literally taking your own finger before you let someone go there and taste yourself. Your vaginal secretions are actually your guide to how well your own health is. You should know what you taste like. You should know what your secretions feel like. You should know what you smell like, not with all the perfumes and dyes, and stop douching all the time. The vagina is self-cleansing. It cleanses itself. But you have to know what you taste and smell like. So when your pH level is off, then you'll be able to know. You'll know that something is awry before something is really, 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 really wrong. So before you send somebody on down there to do that thing, you yourself need to know what you taste like. Now, I know Melissa had mentioned fruits. I was talking about using fruits in a sexual way, but having a balanced diet will keep your yoni good. I'm not saying you have to be a vegetarian, but more fruit and more vegetables actually helps keep the yoni sweet. That whole thing, everybody was going into the pineapples, she tastes like pineapples. Well, yeah, pineapples are good. I mean, try to get them in season, try not to do canned. But pineapples and apples and strawberries, all those fruits really do help affect the taste of your vaginal secretions. Guys, the same thing is true for you, for your semen. And if any of you guys smoke cigarettes, it does affect the taste of your semen, and it does affect the taste of your vaginal secretions. Not to mention it gives you fucking cancer. Okay, if there's no other reason, if you won't stop for any other reason, you want to taste sweet. Stop smoking. It just makes no sense whatsoever, right? So, some other things. As women, our hormones are one way or another as we get older. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Sandra. Oh my God, people are here. Hi, guys. Hey, Sophia. But as we get older and we start getting hormonal changes, or every time during monthly periods we get hormonal changes. If we have pregnancy, we get hormonal changes. And then as we get older, we got perimenopause, menopause, and then postmenopause. There are some of those things do affect your vaginal secretions, what you taste like, and there are some pretty natural things that you can do that are not expensive. I personally am not a proponent of always going the medical route if there's a natural way, if you're not sick or anything like that, but of course you got to check with your own doctor, but try to get some advice from a doctor that has some holistic background. And most doctors will write a script or a prescription for what ails you, meaning they focus on the symptom. A holistic doctor will focus on what is the cause of the system. Everything in the body is connected, head to toe. Everything is connected. So when one thing is off, the body's going to tell you. So a holistic doctor will try to look for the cause first. Why are your vaginal secretions heavier than normal? Is it hormonal? Is it something you're eating? Is it something you've been in contact with? Sometimes going into the jacuzzi, at a big resort, you could get vaginal vaginosis. You could get contact dermatitis. I go to some resorts sometimes, and just being in the jacuzzi, if I'm in there too often, just sitting in there, I break out on my skin, and that's a contact dermatitis. The skin has been in contact with something, and then it has a reaction. Some ladies actually think that they have a latex allergy, and actually fewer than 10% of the population has a true latex allergy. If you can use latex gloves, you may just be sensitive to the chemicals that are on latex. So back to the hormones. So if you're having issues with dryness or irritation or itchiness, first check with what are you using on your body, right? So is it the chemicals in your soap? Are you douching too often? Is it in your detergent that's leaving a residue? Then you look to your food, right? What are you eating too much of, not enough of? What do you need to stop doing too much of? And then there are some other holistic things you can do, like flaxseed oil, right, which has phytoestrogens in them, which naturally mimic the estrogens in the body, but it's plant-based. So adding flaxseed to your food will actually help make you more naturally juicy, right? Maca, and you can get flaxseed at Whole Foods. You get the organic kind, the kind you keep in the fridge. I just add some to my shake every day in the morning, and that's it. You can get the ground flax seeds if you don't like, and you can just sprinkle it on cereal or anything else. And a couple of tablespoons a day, it really is all that you need. Maca, if you guys are not familiar with Maca, hold on one second, Chris. I'm going to answer that for you. If you're not familiar with Maca, Maca is a root vegetable that only grows in the high in the Andes in South America. It is the cousin to the radish, and it is what's called an adaptogen. So an adaptogen means that it adapts to what your body's needs are. So my body's needs are going to be different than somebody else's body's needs. My hormonal body's needs are going to be different. So what it does is it balances out the hormones. So it's good for the hypothalamus gland. It's great for libido for both men and women. It gives you a nice balance of energy. And when I say a balance of energy, not the kind of energy that makes you really racy, the kind of energy that when you wake up and you feel like you've had a good night's sleep, that's the kind of energy that Maca gives you. It's really good. It's very subtle, and you don't realize it until you stop taking it, and you're like, oh my God. And if you're like me, a girl who is having hot flashes here and there, I'm like, my husband says I'm like a schizophrenic stripper, because I'm off with the shirt, on with the shirt, off with the shirt, on with the shirt, cut the fan off, cut the fan off. I'm off with the covers. I'm naked. I got like 3 sets of pajamas at the end of the bed. It's just amazing. But I take my Maca and it kind of keeps me kind of balanced. So it's good. So Chris was asking, what about your partner's pH matching or balancing versus unbalancing? Chris, if you could expound on that, are you asking matching your own pH and how that might affect you? And are you saying, and are you asking, Chris, if that is regards to if you're in a sexual situation and your partner ejaculates in you and their semen pH is different than your vaginal pH? I'm just want to make sure I'm clear on the question before I answer it. If you could give me a little more information, Chris, I can see if I can answer that for you guys. So those are the things that using lubricant. A lot of people don't think that they need lubricant. Chris is going that yes, because of diet. I don't think necessarily that your pHs have to match it exactly. No two persons' pH is going to match exactly. And as I said, the vagina is self-cleansing. It's just going to wash right out anyway. And the pH in the semen is not going to be able to throw off your pH. The pH in his semen is not going to be able to throw off your pH that quickly. And because mind you, even though it may seem like a lot, when a gentleman ejaculates, it's probably a tablespoon or less, depending on his age, his health. It's not a ton. It just seems like a lot at the time. So it should not affect your pH whatsoever. Just make sure you're not over douching or douching on a regular basis, because that really is what throws our pH off, and especially if our own health is not balanced. That it has more of an effect than his semen. So what else was I going to tell you? So using lubricant on a regular basis, because lubricant makes everything better. And even though you yourself get very wet, if you will, adding lubricant, it really does just make it better. But I do know some people who just actually hate lubricant. They like the friction. So if that's the case, well, then, that's it. Is that Manura? This reminds me of taking take your probiotics. Are amazing for the body. They also are very helpful for balancing the pH. The probiotics are helpful for the vagina and making things juicy as well. Not to mention they help you be regular. And I think Tiffany was talking about farting the other day. So probiotics are good. They're good. They're good for your sex life, and they're good for the body overall. Some natural lubricants you can use: coconut oil. If you don't have any issues with coconut oil, and I would try with using organic virgin coconut oil first. Just get like a swing by Walmart or the Container Store and get like a little travel jar, like a little small travel jar. I think I have one here. Bigger than this, bigger than that, but you can start with something like that. Scoop some out, put some in this jar, put that near the bed, and put the other jar in the kitchen on the counter or in the cabinet, because you don't want to kind of cross-contaminate between what you're cooking and what you're cooking, so to speak. And then just try a little coconut oil. First start with just on the outside of the vagina. See how that feels for you. And then try some on him. And if that's okay, and then you can just scoop some out. It melts at body temperature, so it's really, really good. It's good for the slip and slide, but more importantly, it's edible and it washes right away. Never, ever, 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 ever use petroleum jelly or any petroleum jelly based lubricant or any, and it's just, one, it's difficult to wash away. Petroleum jelly is, yes, we know some people love friction. Petroleum jelly, it's difficult to wash away for one. One, it doesn't go well with latex. It will eat through that, as any oil-based lubricant will eat through latex condom in 3 strokes, like 1, 2, 3, gone, okay? But petroleum jelly is made from gasoline, and they make gasoline, and what's left over, they skim off the top. That's jelly. Remember your mom used to put it all over your face if you lived up north and it was cold out? It's a great protectant, but water doesn't get through it. So you don't want to block the pores of the body. Never use it anally, ever, ever, ever. And I know anal was not the Yoni, but while I'm on that subject, I just wanted to mention, if you're going to do anal sex, never use a lubricant that is numbing, ever. That's the one place where you want to feel pain. If you want to be able to say, ow, no, don't do that anymore, ever. So if you're going to use, do anal sex, always use a lubricant, but never use anything that is numbing, ever, ever, ever. So no petroleum jelly, oil, not with condoms, and no oil-based lubricants. That means coconut oil. You can use olive oil. Don't use olive oil with any latex-based condoms. So, are there any other questions? We have so many things coming up on the Sisters of Sexuality tour in Atlanta on November 12th. And we're all going to be there. I know tomorrow night, Taomi is going to be on, giving you guys some tips. And Manora was saying she recommended ways to wash the Yoni. I've heard no soaps, but I find that hard to do. Well, no, Manora, you can get an organic soap. And organic soaps are derived from coconut oils, they're derived from olive oils, and so those are okay. Those are okay. But even things that are organic and even things that are natural, you can still have a reaction to it, because just because it's organic or natural doesn't mean that your body is not going to have some kind of reaction to it. If you have sensitivity to it, or if you have you're welcome, Deborah. Or if you have an allergy. I mean, there are people who are allergic to green peppers, and green peppers are natural, or eggs, or, apples and strawberries. So don't think that just because something is organic that you're not going to, have a reaction to it. But because you can. So that's why when you're trying new things like switching to an organic lubricant, see if you can get a sample, or see if you can just test a little bit to make sure that you're okay with it. Most organic things are good, but definitely work with reputable companies, of course, people who have an opportunity to tell you, they have full disclosure. When you look on the back of a product, and I always say, if there's things on there you can't pronounce, if you can't pronounce it, I always say denounce it, right? Because if you can't read it, you probably don't need it. And if it's got, the average person puts up to 120 different chemicals on their body every day, head to toe. And women, we put more than guys do. More than guys, because we wear makeup. So if you just even look at, when we finish, you just go right to your cabinet, your medicine cabinet, pull out your toothpaste, mouthwash, deodorant, and one body product. And then count the number of ingredients in each one. And as I said, our body's porous. Up to 60% of what we put on gets absorbed into the bloodstream. So all of these things over time, not at one time, right? But over time, when you first start, when you're little and you put a little this on, a little that, we get what's called bioaccumulation. So, and the cells just hold on to it a little bit at a time. So Things to go away with. Ladies, taste yourself. You need to look at yourself too. Taste yourself. Smell your own yoni. Don't do whipped cream because, in all honesty, pussy should taste like pussy. Really. Not cookies and cream. Okay? Not chocolate chip and, and vanilla sauce. Stop doing all that stuff you see on porn. If you want to do, whipped cream, put it on top. But not inside. Same thing with the strawberries. Not inside, because most fruits have insecticides on them because they've been sprayed with them. Even so, not the organic ones, because you just don't do it. Okay? But you got to know what you taste like. You got to know what you smell like. Check your health. What are you eating? Do some changes. We did Whole30, not a diet, but you eliminate some things out of your diet for 30 days. And, like no wine, no sugar. And I know, no alcohol, no sugar. But you still do meats and things like that. And my husband and I, we did. And I said, if you can't go without alcohol for 30 days, you might have other problem that you have not been addressing. But do some of those things. Check yourself, And I know guys, I know if you are a smart man, you are not going to say to your woman, babe, you're not too fresh down there. Because otherwise, she's going to wring your neck and never give you any anymore. But you need to be honest with your girl if you love her. But ladies, avoid that. You need to check yourself all the time, okay? So this has been a great time. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your evening. I know it's Friday night. I hope you guys are having some good tequila, some good sex. Send me video. And I've had a wonderful time talking with you guys. We got Tayomi coming up tomorrow. Go to sistersofsexuality.com. Get your tickets because they are running out. This is a small, really intimate affair. We're starting small. We want to be up close and personal with guys. And I really can't thank you enough for your time tonight. Log on to sistersofsexuality.com. Inbox me. Post some more questions. We're going to be here and answering all of your questions this week, next week. And we love you guys. So we hope to see you soon. We can't wait to see you guys and meet you all in person in Atlanta. Love you guys. Stay sweet. Stay sexy. Bye.